at this point, I'm too confident in landing another role because now I know deep down, well, my core concepts are quite strong. So if not one interview, I can pretty much crack the second one because the first one is basically a jolt or a jerk for you to, step up, and the second one is for you to, just crack it because more or less things are basically repeating. You just know, or you just have to know the kind of a pattern the recruiters are using in order to judge you or to take an interview of you. Right now, I'm not worried about landing another or getting laid off or be worried about if I would be able to land another job or not. So yeah, that's what
Mhm.
changed confidence. That's what
Yeah.
this program gave me.
I'm doing an interview with my client Aqeel for the second time actually, because he landed yet another role since joining Dev Mastery and also a new contractor project on the site. So we'll do a quick interview here, breakdown on how he got to this point and what you can learn from his experience. So Aqeel, maybe for those who didn't watch the first part, we can quickly start with where were you before joining Dev Mastery for the first time?
Yeah, so basically, hi, my name is Aqeel. I'm a modern stack dev. Core expertise are on the back end and DevOps compared to the front end. But so previously, before joining the Dev Mastery, so I was doing a remote role. Wasn't that good with the expertise level or anything. But after joining Hike's program, it gave me quite a clarity on the concepts which I was lacking. I had the chance to, experience a industrial grade upgrade, industrial grade learning, industrial grade programming, and projects, which actually gave me quite a clarity on how the international market moves with the products, with the projects, and the kind of technology the industry uses while building the product or a project for a client or whoever. So, well, as I mentioned before, my core expertise are on the backend, so Node, Express, and Nest with the database. So I was kind of lacking on the system design part, which Hike's program actually quite gave me quite a lot of stuff to read to understand how the systems are built, how we can basically scale from a smaller system to a larger system, what kind of technologies we use for doing so. Then in terms of front end, since I kind of lagged there, so huge help from the Hike program again. So basically, he has two aspects of the MERN stack. So one is the senior backend role, and the other one is the senior front end role. It has a proper roadmap, which basically helps you navigate your lackings and your expertise. So you can pretty much filter out what you're lacking and what you have good experience with. So you can pretty much focus more on the lacking part than the experience you have. So yeah, so far so good. The first job I landed was back in 2025, actually, in March. So I was, struggling to actually get a or land a role there. So I joined him in mid-January, I believe, or February start, and I got the role in the by the end of March last year. Then after the previous uh, role ended on in December or January, I believe. So it ended in January. So I had landed another role back in February. So it took me about 15 days to land a new role, just because I had to actually learn quite a lot from this program. So yeah.
Yeah. So it took you 2 months to learn the first one, right? When you came to the program. And then
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
second one, you say it's 15 days,
Oh
like
yeah,
2 weeks.
within exactly within 15 days.
So what do you think has changed since your, first time when you got laid off?
Yeah, so for a lot more confidence actually. So I'm more confident with the interviews, with the knowledge I have gained with the explanation I can pretty much convey to the interviewer, the kind of questions interviewer actually asks. So it has gotten quite a normal for me. So due to the kind of uh, well knowledge or data you have provided. So well, in the program we also have some classes where lessons where we basically learn how to give interviews, how to cater some difficult questions, how to do lead code, and all sort of these kind of stuff, which basically is already required in the industry to from a candidate who tries to or gets a new role. Nah? So all the aspects of the interviews, from oral interview, from test code, etc. You entire thing is basically covered in this program. So plus the as I mentioned before, the data or the roadmap you basically get from Hike, especially after so once you basically join the program, so you have a conversation or call with Hike. He basically scans the whole thing down. He jots the whole thing down. He basically scans you, tells you what you lack, what you don't, which part of it should you be focusing on, which you can pretty much be relaxed about. So that's how you basically can or do have a clarity on in order to focus on the things you don't know or and actually land good role for yourself. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for the second time when you got laid off, did you consider just going through the job hunt on your own, or did you come back to the program?
Oh no, I did come back to the program because again, during the job, you don't really have a time to go through the concepts or the stuff, conceptual stuff you basically need to know during the interview. So uh, so once I got laid off, I did come back to the program just to revise the concepts I learned about a year ago. The difference between the first time and the second time was I didn't have to, learn everything from square one or from scratch. I just had the recollection of it. I just had to go through the concepts and it, I caught on. So it became quite easier for me to, start applying for the jobs, landing some interviews, and got selected within about two weeks. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. So if you imagine also you got laid off or your contract just ends, do you feel more confident now to land another one?
Oh yeah, man. At this point, I'm too confident in landing another role because now I know deep down, my core concepts are quite strong. So if not one interview, I can pretty much crack the second one because the first one is basically a jolt or a jerk for you to, step up, and the second one is for you to, just crack it because more or less things are basically repeating. You just know, or you just have to know the kind of a pattern the recruiters are using in order to judge you or to take an interview of you. So right now, right uh, by the demeanor of me, as you can pretty much see, uh, right now I'm not worried about landing another or getting laid off or be worried about if I would be able to land another job or not. So yeah, that's what changed. Confidence. That's what
Yeah,
this program gave me.
that's great. So now that you also landed the second full-time role, I mean, after getting laid off, so you landed the full-time role.
Yeah.
You also landed some contractor project on the side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did you got that deal?
Yeah, so again, in this program, basically, Hike actually give us the opportunity to work in the industry as well, as he has got quite a lot of quite a huge network of people who actually do business, real time business in the tech industry. So he does have links, he does have contacts. So whenever a party approaches him, he basically posts the job or the contract or whatever the thing is in the group, in the community. That's where the like-minded or relevant people start, commenting underneath the contract. So he basically asks or gives us the opportunity to basically apply for the contract or the role he has posted. And after that, it's our luck to, get it or not. So, yeah.
Mhm. So you landed this contractor role, right, for working on a product as
Yeah.
MVP. So how is
Yeah.
that going? And is it like more, let's say, interesting than working on existing systems, or what do you
Mhm.
think?
Yeah, so due to the shift in the technology in the industry, so we have started to experience some quite interesting concepts and products itself now. So the kind of MVP I'm working on is related to LinkedIn, scraping, and AI itself. So all these things combined makes quite a good, shot. So the whole concept of this is to basically the MVP is to basically help the industry, help the people in power or in the business to basically grow their influence over their business, over their client or the people they're trying to reach out to. So in itself, I mean, the kind of MVP I'm working on is basically first of a kind that I uh, worked on in my entire career. So again, it gave me quite an insight on the industry, where it's headed, what's the trajectory, what a business owner actually thinks, how the system is basically built, what are the key challenges you have to face while building a product from scratch, what are the hurdles or the technology or the tech stack you need to choose over the course of time in order to achieve what a business owner is trying to, achieve or market. So due to this MVP, I started working quite closely with a businessman or an entrepreneur with who has quite a vision in order to excel or exceed in current era in terms of AI and all. So it gave me quite an insight, and well, by being a engineer, basically exposes you to a single side, which is the development, which is the engineering. You hardly reach or see the other side unless or until you reach that point or that level where you basically are handling both the sides, the business side or the development side. But while having a contract with such people, it gives you quite an insight from quite an early stage of your career. So you can experience the development side as well as its real-time influence on the market via the business side. So yeah, it's going quite well right now. So, yeah.
Mhm. Would you say this also helped you like develop or improve your business understanding and also practice system design skills by hosting the servers yourself or building the infrastructure from scratch?
Oh yeah, totally, totally. So before this, I didn't have a practical knowledge of how the ROI actually works, or the kind of impact a product has over its users, or the kind of impact a product can have over the market. So while working on this product, I came to understand the psychology of human nature, how users basically perceive a product, what kind of parameters I need to consider while making something that is user friendly, as well as it's cost efficient as well. So these are two different skills which you need to balance alongside while creating a product. Then the system design basically helps you with the cost efficiency and all, because uh, a wrong move can basically either ruin the cost of the entire product or the scalability of the product. So you have to be quite vigilant while creating something that's basically being built from the scratch. So yeah, so both of the acumen, the business acumen and the development acumen, is essential while creating a project or a product now. So that's the kind of clarity I got from working on this MVP actually. So yeah.
That's great. And also about the program, what do you think was the most valuable part for you and also from working together through this?
Yeah. So again, first off, the clarity and the conceptual knowledge which I got from here, since my inclination is more towards the backend and the DevOps side. So backend, this I didn't want to limit myself on just creating a system or integrating a DB or whatever. Now, so I basically wanted to architect a system as well. So first off, it gave me quite a clarity on how to scale a smaller project to a larger project. So what kind of parameters you should consider while creating the project or product, such as the kind of DB you should use, the kind of DB technology you should use, how you can basically scale data or making your API limited enough to provide the right data to the front end or in the response, or how to restrict a certain data from not making the DB overload. So that's one aspect. Then the other aspect comes with the development of it. You need to make it secure. You need to make it communicable around between the two modules or two components. So the concept alone of these two aspects is quite a huge jump for me. Then then came the systems design. So how you basically have to understand the functional and non-functional components, what kind of technology you should integrate, what kind of questions you should ask the user or the client or the business owner in order to create a system. Then the technology, the servers you should use, the database you should use. So all these aspects. Then the bottlenecks, the kind of mitigation we can pretty much perform on the database level in order to cover up the bottlenecks of the system. So all of these aspects were taught in this program. So it gave me quite a clarity and a clear vision to how to structure my career from a junior or a mid-level developer or an engineer to a senior or a higher level. So yeah, quite insightful.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of things you learned from being here.
Oh yeah, no man, I'm truly grateful for you for the kind of program you provide. I mean, I have been to many, but I haven't gotten the experience, the kind of experience you have given us in this community, like honestly. So yeah, I'm staying here.
Yeah, well, very happy to hear that. And lastly, who would you recommend this program, Dev Mastery, to?
Everyone, man. I mean, people need to know, even in the era of AI. I mean, you're using or vibe coding, or you're getting an assistance from the AI. You should need to have the basic knowledge of how things roll, how things work under the hood. If you're not good with that, if you do not understand that, dude, your career's over. I mean, even though you're quite relying on the AI or the cursor or cloud code, whatever technology you use for the code, but you really need to know how to read the code yourself. You really need to know how to design a system yourself, because that's how you'll be more clear in the instruction or the prompt you're trying to give to the client or the cursor or whatever AI tool you use. So yeah, so this program should be adopted by every single person who is interested in tech, who is interested in software engineering, to have a clarity on how to work with a software, with a project, with a product. So in order to have, I mean, You can pretty much create a product or a project yourself, but the point is how efficient it is, how scalable it is. So that's the things which really matter in the industry, rather than just coding it and launching it. There's no meaning to it. I mean, I personally, you could say, have a certain standard that if I am building something, it should have a capacity to scale. It should have a capacity to withhold the traffic. It should have a capacity to, handle the, you could say, earthquake of load, or the people who start using your product. They should be enjoying what you have built. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, great. So thanks for sharing your experience.
No, anytime, anytime.